Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Krashy, and today we have to talk about these new items, and I want to just give you my thoughts and my opinions first. I've got a couple of videos that I want to plan out, and right now everything's feeling very speculative and very loose, but let's go ahead and tell you what I've done so far. So I just got done with a 13.5-hour stream. I streamed all the way going up to the live or to the launch of the mobile release, and then played through it for a handful of hours. And now I'm here making a couple videos, and I want to get some thoughts out. So first and foremost, I used my super enhancers on Scope Lens, Razor Claw, and Choice Specs, and then I took the tickets that I got and I put them into weakness policy. So weakness policy going to be sitting at 21, Choice Specs 30, Razor Claw 30, Scope Lens 30. Now I instantly want to start talking about these first three items because I want to let y'all know that I can't really tell you what the best item builds are right now. I can't tell you what I think the best items are. I can't really tell you a whole lot about any of these new items other than what I'm feeling about them, because at the end of the day, the way that these items read, there are hidden values behind them, and I just don't know how high they go. I can only feel out so much without doing a lot of math and testing myself, and that's not really my thing. So we have to wait for the verdict to be out on that. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Scope Lens, of course, obviously is a natural 30. That's an amazing item. These percentages get increasingly higher as you get the stats higher, and Scope Lens can bring you quite a bit of damage. Now, what I want to say about the current state of the game is that it feels like the game is incredibly bursty. It feels like, and I could be wrong, this could just be the solo queue feel of the game. It feels like people are going to be pulling more towards running damage items and less towards running like Focus Band and Buddy Barrier on every single character. The build diversity that I'm feeling in the game right now feels really, really high. It feels good. It feels like there's going to be a couple ways to play the characters, especially certain types of characters like I'm feeling with all-rounders. Like all-rounders have really got me interested in different variety of builds and what's going to feel really good to play. And that's really, really exciting to me. I'm excited about the prospect of that. But let's talk about these items. Razor Claw, let's go ahead and read it. After the Pokemon uses a move, its next basic attack deals a minimum of 20 more damage. The higher the Pokemon's attack, this is the part that we don't know enough about, the more the damage is increased. By how much? We don't know. When this item is held by a melee Pokemon, this basic attack also decreases the movement speed of an opposing Pokemon for a short time. So this is a very damage heavy item. It's got some crit hit rate on it at 30, a little bit of damage on it at 30, no crazy stats there, but it's about the fact that this item will just bring your next basic attack 20 damage, and then it'll bring it more damage just depending on how high your attack goes. So if you're putting this on a character that uses attack, whether they're melee or not, you're getting extra damage. You're just getting damage. It just scales with damage, and feels really cool. Feels like a really good item. I think that this item of the three new items is probably the best, but even then it's hard to say. I don't really know how high this damage goes, but if you're on a melee character, so all-rounder or speedster, mostly with this item, you're bringing value in the form of a slow, and this item works with characters that are using abilities often. So after you use a move, this item feels pretty solid. So I don't know if there's a cooldown on this, but and again, I don't know how high the damage can go on this, but this item feels incredibly good, incredibly strong. Now, Choice Specs, very similar-ish. Increase the damage of moves by a minimum of 60 when they hit. The higher the Pokemon's SP attack, the more damage is increased. So again, this is an SP item that scales with itself. The damage of the moves by the minimum, increases the damage of moves by a minimum of 60, and the higher the Pokemon's SP attack, the more damage is increased. So as you level up, and if your character that you're running this on has high scaling for their stat line, not even their abilities, but just for their stat lines for SP, then this item scales with itself. It scales on its own. So you run this and Wise Glasses, and you're scaling your SP values up, and you're on a Pokemon that has good scaling, and you have Choice Specs, can be very, very strong. I think that this is going to be a pretty big item. And again, the Pokemon, the more the damage is increased. The higher the SP, the more it's increased. We don't know how much more. And then Weakness Policy. This one is a very interesting item. Increases the Pokemon's attack for a short time by a minimum of 3% when the Pokemon receives damage. This increase grows larger more times. The more times damage is taken is received. So this is a very all-roundery kind of item. If you're in their face, you're taking damage, you're going to take damage and increase your damage because of it. I like that. I don't know how high it goes. I'm not really sure. I think I've read something like up to 12% when you're taking damage. This feels like a Garchomp item. Feels pretty interesting. Feels like, you know, you can get in their face and take some damage and then deal some damage back out. That feels really interesting. So the thing is that there are so many good items, and I was talking a lot about this just a bit ago on stream, that it is incredibly hard for me to just pick 3 and say that's the build you want, when I actually feel like there's a lot of subjective ways to build. You know, you have Muscle Band, Weakness Policy, Choice Specs, Razor Claw, and Scope Lens, and like 4 of these are like attack and damage focused damage items. You can't even run 4 items. And then we haven't even talked about the fact that you have Focus Band and like Buddy Barrier, which are obviously other amazing items, or Score Shield. So we're looking at like 6-7 items minimum that I think are good, and you only got like 3 items that you can run, and I'm not even talking about SP characters. So the item meta for now at perception, you know, step 1 of the perception of the meta right now, it feels very wide open and subjective. There will be certain items that you can weigh against each other. So like you can say, if you can only take one, well, which one's better, Razor Claw or Scope Lens on X character? That kind of stuff can be tested. But in terms of the overall build, well, let's say Lucario, for example, and I'm not going to tell you a build for him, but do you run 3 defensive items, Scope Lens, Focus Band, Buddy Barrier, or Focus, you know, do you do something like that? You throw a Weakness Policy on him, let him take some damage, and then deal some damage back out. Do you run the Score Shield heavy build? You know, do you run Muscle Band, you know, Razor Claw, Scope Lens? You go damage heavy? Is it subjective? Is there a way to tell which of those is just the better build, or do you play with it, find your play style with the character, and then try to employ that? So the way that I'm feeling about the items right now is that there's going to be some good build diversity, depending on how truly good these items are right here. There's going to be some build diversity. Now, Shell Bell, crap. Rocky Helmet, crap. Assault Vest, crap. EXP Share, pretty good, niche. Leftovers, pretty bad. These 3 attacking items, I think maybe Lucario could use attack weight, but now that there's more damage items in the mix, I don't think you're going to see these on a lot of characters. They already had such a requirement to try to score 6 times to get the value out of them. Not looking good for these items, in my opinion. Score Shield, phenomenal item. Buddy Barrier, phenomenal item. Not good. Very niche, probably not even worth running on some Pokemon, like on most Pokemon. So just really, really niche. Focus Band, obviously great, but kind of feels expendable. Kind of feels like an item that you can actually get rid of on some characters to, you know, it will weaken your early game a little bit, but it will make you stronger if you're putting like a really good damage item. Obviously, Wise Glasses pretty good on some mons, not so good on others. And then we go into the, you know, the big old heavy hitters. So items feel like there's a lot of diversity, and this is going to tighten in, I promise you. Like the builds will start to settle. People will start to see like, okay, when I play this, I have really good performances, and they'll start to make their choices, and you know, a lot of that will be emulated. So that's kind of how I'm feeling about the items right now. I'm really, really jazzed up about these new items. Weakness Policy is the one that I'm really not. It feels more niche than the other 2. This is just like, yo, if you're an SP attacker and you're scaling well, throw this on. Or if you're just an SP character and you have got some good scaling and you want to get some more damage in, then, you know, throw it on. If you I think Razor Claw is just good. I just think this is good. I was running this on Cinderace, Greninja. I was running this on Absol, Talonflame. I was running this on Machamp, Charizard, Lucario. Like, I've played this on everybody. It feels pretty good. And then Scope Lens, like I said, Scope Lens, especially level 30 Scope Lens, but, you know, whatever your levels are, these items are feeling pretty good. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. That's kind of my first initial thoughts on items and where I'm feeling it out. Like I said, I want to do a little bit of like early videos where I'm telling you what I'm thinking, and we can kind of run through this process. As we get more information about these items, I'll kind of keep you updated on what builds we're seeing. I'll let you guys know. I might make some guides with my favorite builds and the way that I'm playing the characters, because I think that that's fun. But even then, I'm not even sure if those will be the best builds, and I'm not even sure how to tell what the best builds are. So we'll have to wait and see. As always, friends, be sure to be kind to one another, tell someone that you love them, and I'll see you on the next video.